Hey, welcome back to Get Going Fast and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. What an exciting time. As you can see, we are all getting very festive here. So we're going to look at today at the exciting new software, which is this Sauna from that's coming out from NVIDIA. So of course, the big issue with Sauna is that you can make incredibly high quality images, over 4,000 resolution, which is full 2K. Do it in a matter of seconds, and you can do it with very small computers. So you can actually do this down with 8 GB. That's not that impressive looking there, but you can do that with 8 GB VRAM. You can see the images are actually quite stunning, and it captures text fairly well. Okay, I keep grabbing that stupid Shiba Inu there. So this is kind of exciting. This is a sort of a game changer for a lot of us. The thing that we have mostly used in the past is Focus, because it's so easy to use for smaller computers. This actually, Focus is so adaptable. It's such a good software. I don't want to throw Focus under the bus, but I'm saying like this, you can get some really high quality stuff. It's along that same vein. Okay, and so we're going to go through the installation on this. I'm going to tell you it is a Windows Subsystem for Linux installation. I know there's a installer that's floating around which for Windows, which is fine if you want to get that. However, it will force you to change your system. So if you're running particular versions of Python or CUDA, you're going to have to change it to use the installer. So what we're going to do here instead is actually use we're going to actually use this over here, this WS Complete Package installer. So we're going to this thing will actually set up our Windows Subsystem for Linux, set up CUDA, set up the deep neural network, and we'll set up Mini Conda just by clicking it. But there's also videos that I'm going to lead you towards, so that if you want to do it manually, you don't have to get that installer. But I'm telling you, a lot of the stuff we've missed out on, like we missed out on Cog Video, a lot of that because it was done in Linux, right? And some of these things are so difficult to get transferred over to a Windows environment. So in this step-by-step, we are going to go through getting our, I'm going to step you through the quick way of getting your Windows Subsystem for Linux set up, which is then going to get you ready for the future, so then we can actually do a lot more easy installs of stuff that we want to do without having to cry because we don't have Linux. Woo! But first, before we do that, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We've been growing, and I really do appreciate it. If you guys have support, you're always welcome to ask on YouTube. We do have a feature over there where you can say thanks by buying like a $3 sticker. That's a nice way of saying thank you for any time I've spent helping you out, and that certainly helps me to continue to have the time to be able to sit here and work on this stuff day in and day out for you. All right. With that in mind, let's get forward to getting Sauna installed. Yo. All right, well, let's start here by going over to our browser, and we're going to be able to find the repository really easy. We're just going to do a Google search for Sauna GitHub, okay? And it's going to bring up this from NVIDIA Labs, so that's cool. That's the one we want. We're just going to click on that, and it's going to bring us over to the repository, which we will download, but later, along with the installation. Okay, so we can scroll down here, and we're going to see this is actually a really easy installation. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to be git cloning it. This is really all we're going to do. We're just going to be git cloning it, and then we're going to be running this environment file. That .sh means that it is a script file, which is a Linux file. Now this is where the issue of being in a Linux environment comes into play, because a lot of this stuff, these dependencies, will only work for Linux. So like, for instance, deep speed is something that some of these things rely on, and I certainly haven't been able to figure out how to get deep speed to install on a Windows server. Some of this other stuff is as well. You can get versions of stuff that will, like Triton. You can get Triton to work on your Windows, but it will be tied into a very specific Python or a very specific configuration on your computer, and so it can make it very confusing. Okay, and then you got to change stuff up. Honestly, that's what I had to do. I played around with the Windows installation for Sauna, and I ended up having to go change software, which I don't want to do because it messes up other software. So anyway, going back to this. So we're going to run this, and then you're going to see basically that's all it needs to do, because inside of this script file is going to be all of the dependencies that it runs. Then we're going to go ahead and throw this into our file as well. We're going to throw it into our terminal window there with Linux, and it's going to essentially download all the files we need, and then it's going to load up Sauna like this into a browser that we can then easily play with. Okay, and we'll take a look at that. So first thing we need to do, though, is we need to get your Windows subsystem for Linux going. So now I'm going to show you something. We're going to pop over here to my desktop. Okay, now when you're over here, you can usually click on your start window, and then you can type in Windows subsystem for Linux. Okay, excuse me, boy. Or you can just type WSL. Okay, now you may or may not have it installed. So even if it's here, it doesn't necessarily mean it's installed. So you click on this. Now mine's installed. It's going to pop it up. Sometimes that little penguin button, she's going to be there, but it ain't going to do nothing. Okay, and you're also going to notice that it brought us into the our home folder here. Okay, so Linux file structures are a little bit confusing, and you see we're in our home, and they don't really work like Windows, so you're going to have to play around with this. Although what we're going to end up doing with using the quick install thing that we got going is we're going to make it easy. We're just going to be able to pop this up inside of our Windows browser. So like if we are actually in a folder, we're going to be able to actually open up and be in that folder once we get in here and not have to deal around with folders. But anyway, let's assume that this is not installed. Okay, so what you would have to do manually, okay, is you would need to go here, and then you would have to type, you'd have to type Windows, what do we type? It's been a while since I've done this. Hold on just a second. Let me see. We go in Windows add remove, I believe. And yeah, there it is. So it's called turn Windows features on and off. So you just click on that, and then you scroll. You're going to bring up this thing here. And what you do is you would scroll down to where it says Windows subsystem for Linux, and then you check it. So mine's unchecked, but it's because I installed it sort of through a different way. But you would check that, and then you press OK. It would install it, and then you have to reboot your machine. Okay, once it's in there, okay, you need to then install the CUDA. You need to install CUDA and CUDA deep neural network. So you would need to, it's not the same just because you've installed it on your Windows system. Remember that the Linux subsystem is running as its own thing, so you have to reinstall some basic stuff. So we would go to Google, and you would have to type install CUDA on WSL. Okay, and then you could kind of scroll through here, maybe grab this NVIDIA docs, and then you just need to read this through this, and then you're gonna basically find the directions. Let's see, use the latest installer. Yeah, so here you go. It can be directly downloaded. So you're gonna have to download these things, and then follow the directions on how to install it into your system. So I don't know, whatever. You can play around with this. I actually have a video over here on YouTube that can show you how to do this manually. I'm not going to take much more time than this. If we go over here, we can type in WSL, and here is installing CUDA in WSL. So this is an older video, so you can see my image quality is not great. It was probably 3 in the morning when I made that. But you can click there, and this will actually walk you through every step you need to get CUDA installed. along with your deep neural network. Okay, so what we're going to do, however, is we're going to pop on over to the Patreon site. And again, this is free for all Farmhand members. So if you're a member, you get this for free. This is actually a really good setup to have because we're going to be able to do more stuff with WSL here coming up. And actually, we have just upgraded this, so it's actually working better than ever before. So all you're going to have to do is you're just going to click this and just choose a place to download it. Okay, so it will open up a file explorer window and you will go over there to find the file. Okay, so what you can see here is that I've gone ahead, I usually just create a WSL folder. I've already installed it in here, so I'm just doing another thing over here. But all we're got to do now is just right click on this, and then we're going to go down to where it says WinRAR, and we're going to extract it. Okay, so it's going to bring out all of these files. Okay, and now you have a few different things. You've got WSL open, which you're going to wait until we have it installed. We have the install, which is the important one, and then you've got the reset. Okay, so the reset will completely remove WSL. So anything that you've installed in there, if you use that reset, it'll be wiped away, like you don't have it installed, and then you'll have to redo everything. So be cautious. I do believe there's a warning on that if you press it afterwards, but save that for if you have made mistakes and you need to get it fixed. Now, over here, this .h, you're gonna notice there's a file here that's called a .sh. That's a Linux script file. So essentially what we're doing is we're using bat files, and we're gonna use Windows to open up our subsystem for Linux and then run this file. Because again, Linux doesn't use bat files like Windows does. It uses script files. So this is all going to do it for us. But now let's just but it's going to do it from a Windows environment, which is nice. So the other way that we were doing it was we were installing it through that Windows, turn Windows features on and off, okay? And then we were going and getting in there, and we're having to find our way through the folder structure, and then getting the CUDA and doing all that, and we're going to be using script files. So with this, what we're doing is I've set it up so that we can actually use the Windows system to access the Windows subsystem for Linux and then run the files within that. And it's going to all do it within this folder. So you'll remember when we went over to our desktop and we ran it over there, it opened up into pretty much what would be the equivalent of our home directory, our user directory. Okay, this one's going to actually open it up in the folder that all of this exists. So mine's already installed. Let me show you what it looks like really quick. I'm going to click this WSL open, and it's going to open up this. Okay, and so you'll notice that it opened us up into the actual folder that we're in, the D drive, WSL, new folder. Whereas when we opened the other one, it was opening us up to the home setting. Let me see if I can show you what that looks like really quick here. And notice, so here, when we open up normally, we're here, and then we've got to figure out how to get there. We would have to go like this, CD dash dash. We have to do it again. Then we have to go CD mount. Then we go CDD. Then we would go CD WSL. So we have to find our way through there, and especially for a new user, that's really confusing. I'm not a new user; it's confusing for me. So the beautiful thing about this other software is that it actually just is going to open us up directly where we need to be, and then we can actually run our script files. So like if we type dir for directory, or ls, which I guess is list the system, and it highlights folders, that's kind of a different thing there. You'll see that there's our .sh, and it's going to go ahead and when we run the bat file, it's going to run it for us. We would not be able to run these bat files from this command line because Linux does not understand bat files. So instead, we're going to go over here, and what we would do is we would click this WSL install, okay, and it would pop up this. Now here's the thing, is ain't going to do nothing on mine because it's already installed. But what it will do on yours is it will bring up a thing, it'll say installing the Windows subsystem for Linux, and you just have to follow through it. There might be something where you type in yes or something like that, but it'll essentially install everything, and then it's going to ask you to reboot the machine. Okay, at that point, what you would do is you would come back to your file explorer, Same thing, just click on the install again. It would once again open this up, but this time it's going to ask you for a username. So I just named mine Cogni, okay? So you just name it whatever you want, okay? Just like when you, within Windows, you create your username, okay? Then it's going to ask you for a password, okay? Once that's done, you're in the system, okay? So what you can do then is you just go ahead, you can close this back out, okay? Sometimes it's good to close out the stuff because it resets everything. Then you would go back to here, we click on your WSL open.bat, okay? It brings us back over to here. Now we have a new open file. Now this is the only thing you've got to kind of do a little bit manually here, okay? We're just going to type in the name of this .sh. Now I might fix this a little bit later to so you don't have to do this, but we're essentially going to go over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to right click on it, we're going to highlight it and get the name, okay? Then we're going to go back over to our command line, and what we're going to do is we're going to put a dot, and that dot in Linux world means in this directory, okay? If I put a dot, that would mean in the previous directory, but we'll put one dot means in the directory I'm in. Then I'll put that slash, it says I want you to work with this file. So then we're just going to paste it in, okay? So it's going to come up here, and it's going to want to install your CUDA and your CUDA deep neural network. Now this is going to install CUDA 12.4. Okay, so on the Windows system, I keep 11.8 because it just works well with the majority of stuff that we work with. However, with the Windows subsystem for Linux at WSL, I do 12.4 because there are a lot of things in Linux that do require a higher CUDA. So this one's going to install 12.4. Okay, so you just type in your password. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't need to install this, but it's going to start to install CUDA. It's going to start to install your deep neural network, okay, and it's going to install Miniconda, which we need for our virtual environments. Okay, when it gets to the Miniconda part, it's going to ask you. I mean, this is going to take a long time. This is going to take a while. This is not a small install. This is 15 minutes, 20 minutes sort of thing, okay? Because it's going, but it's going to set up everything for you so it all works. Then when you get to the part with the Miniconda, it's just going to basically like, are you sure you want to install this? And you're going to have to click enter a bunch of times. It's going to scroll down and then you type yes, okay? Then at the end of it, it's going to say, do you want to make it so that it initializes every time you start? Because what happens with Windows Subsystem for Linux is when you create Conda, right, it has to put stuff into the environmental variable path. Remember? So like when we go into our terminal, we type Conda, the system goes, okay, Conda, do I know what Conda is? So it looks at a list and it goes, oh yeah, it's in the list. Oh, that's what it is. So with Windows Subsystem for Linux, we have to do the same thing, but to do that, we initialize it. Now, once you run this script, okay, and it gets to the end of it, like I said, it's going to ask you, do you want to set it up so that it always initializes? And you'll just click yes. Okay, so that way your Conda will always be ready. When it's done, okay, all you got to do is close it. Okay, and then you're done. Okay, so you have then set up. Now at this point, if you ever want to be in a to get into a Windows Subsystem, a WSL window in whatever folder, all you got to do is just copy that and copy the support file and just put it in whatever folder you want. Okay, so let's say I want to be in this LLM folder. Okay, I would just copy those over there, and the same thing, I could just click WSL open and then watch what happens. I go over to here and notice it, I'm in there now and I'm in the correct folder. So that's a really easy way to make sure that you are in whatever folder you need to be in, okay, with it. Otherwise you got to find it and drill through all of the weird folders. As well, once you start installing stuff, it will actually go ahead and install it in the correct place. Now that we've gone through that, we have our Windows Subsystem for Linux set up, okay? It's all good. We're ready to use some of this software that requires it. So what we're going to do, you got two options here. One, you can head over here again to the Patreon site And over here I have put together just a single click for the Sauna installer. All you have to do is just download it. Okay, you just go to your go to wherever you downloaded it. I put mine over here, I think. Okay, let's look in here, and you're just going to extract it, and you're going to have the Sauna install and Sauna run. So easy. Okay, once you've set up your system correctly, all you got to do is click on this. It will open up your Windows subsystem for Linux. It will install it, and here, let me actually show you here what this is looking like. And it will just go ahead and start to do everything. If you notice, if we go back over here to File Explorer, it's already created the Sauna folder. So it will go through everything. You really don't have to do anything else on your own. It just runs down there. You have to sit here for a while. It's not it's not a small install. It's not huge, but it will go ahead and install everything. I'm going to close this out for now. And then if you want to run it, all you got to do is click the Run Sauna Bat. Okay, and this is after it's all done. And again, it will open up your WSL. It will run the files. It actually will go ahead. You'll see it creates this file, the sauna install.sh, that gets created during the install. So basically what this run will do is it will open up your WSL, and then it will execute this file, and then it will pop up, and you are and it'll pop up like this, and you're ready to go. So that's actually really easy. You can get this over here at the Patreon site. This is like $5. This is for all paying members. This is for the Patreon members. Okay, so this is not a, you don't have to have the big membership to get this, but if you do want to get the easy install of your WSL, you are going to have to be at least a farmhand member, or just go do a one-time purchase for that, which in my opinion is worth it, because it's kind of a lot of work to get that done otherwise. But okay, that all said, what we're going to do here is let's go ahead and install this manually. So like I said before, what we're going to do is we're going to scroll on over to where we had where we downloaded our installer for WSL, and we're just going to grab the open, and we're going to grab the support folder. So just grab those, and then you can press Control-C, or you can right-click on it and click the copy button. Then we're just going to go back to where we're going to install this, and we're going to paste those in there. Okay. So now that we've got this, I'm going to click this WSL open.bat, and it is going to open up this. Okay. And you notice we're in the folder that we want to install it to, okay, which is nice. This is why this is so powerful. Otherwise, we'd have to go through the other way. We have to make sure that the CUDA is installed. We got to go to the. It's not cool. It's a lot of work. It's confusing. So this gets us right there. Then we can pop back over to our browser, and we go to our directions. And this is really not that difficult. What we're going to do, you notice it wants us to git clone. Go ahead and do this stuff. So let's go ahead and git clone the repository. So we head back over to here. All right, so here we are. We're in the folder. We're in Subsystem for Linux. So we're just going to go ahead and Control V that. So again, Git is the program that we're calling. It's already installed into the system, and we want Git to clone something, a repository. And where's the repository? It's at this place here. So we'll just hit Enter there, and it's going to go ahead and clone that. Now, if we go back over to our File Explorer, you're going to see here that it's created a Sauna thing. Now, if we had done this the other way, just through the manual install, and we weren't in this folder when we ran that, it would install it in the home folder, which isn't a bad thing to do. If you know how to use Windows Subsystem for Linux, it's not a bad thing to put it there. This is just a more convenient sort of way to do that. All right, so we're going to go in there, and if we type ls, which means, list system, I guess, you'll see that you've got some stuff that's got these highlights behind it. Those means those are folders. That's kind of a nice graphical way to know what folders are. So it created the Sauna folder. So looking back at our directions, you can see that it wants us to cd into that directory. So we'll go cd Sauna, same, oops, I typed it wrong, cd Sauna. Okay, I'm going to type clear so that we can clear the screen. All right. Now, if I type ls or if I type dir, you'll see again all the files that we've got here. Now we have this environment setup.sh. So it's going to actually create a bunch of stuff. And this is, if we look over at our browser, that's what we need to do next. So we grab that, just highlight it, control C it. We're going to go back to our command line. Okay. And we just going to paste that in there. And again, that dot means in this file, okay, in this folder, we're in the Sauna folder. So the dot means in this folder. If we put dot dot, it would be in the new folder over here, or this one called new folder. But we're going to say in this folder, go ahead and run this file, okay, and put it in the Sauna folder. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter. And now we'll sit here. Now it's a matter of twiddling our thumbs, because it's going to go ahead, it activates our file, it grabs our stuff, it does everything we need. It's running this thing, and notice it's installing all your NVIDIA stuff. It's installing it's going to install Torch, so it's going to take a little bit of time. But if we go back to our browser, we're going to realize that that once we're done with this, we're basically done. Okay, that's it. So then all we have to do is just run this, and then again, our Windows subsystem for Linux is going to make it easier to do this. We can put this, it's going to recognize this all as one line. If we were in Windows, we would have to change out the this is setting, what this is doing is it's setting an environmental variable temporarily, so we'd have to change that out, and then we'd have to get rid of these things, because these backslashes, which in WSL, in Linux, what they mean is just to extend the line, but in Windows, they don't mean anything. They mean throw an error. So anyways, it's going to be easy for us to go ahead and do that once we get there. But let's go back over to our command line, and notice it's starting to install the Torch. So it's going to take a little bit of time. So I'm going to hit pause. It's probably going to take 10 minutes or so. I'll be back. Oh, I do want to notice up here really quick before we go. It says Triton right here. Again, this is one of the reasons why it's easier to do this in WSL. If you're doing this in Windows, we'd have to go find the proper thing, get it installed. Okay. Now, well, here's one other thing. If you ever do scroll up while it's doing stuff, or you highlight stuff, it effectively pauses it. So you got to hit spacebar to get it going again. Okay. So if you screw up around with the window, hit spacebar. Okay, we're going to pause this. We'll be back ready to run. See you in just a moment. All right, and we're back. And so you can see here it finished installing. So now all we got to do is run this bad boy. So we're going to pop on over to our browser, and we've got our quick start with Gradio. So now I do want to point something out. It talks about okay, so 9 gigabytes VRAM is required for the 6B model and 12 gigabytes for the 1.6. Now, we're going to look down here on what we're going to run, and notice it's running the 1.6, okay? So if you want to run the 9 gigabyte version, you're going to have to change this up, and I'll show you how to do that here in a moment, I guess. But first, let's just get it running. So let's grab this. Okay, we're going to highlight all of that. Again, what this is going to do is it's going to set a variable, okay, and then it's going to go ahead and it's going to call Python, and it's going to say, hey, Python, I want you to go into the app directory, and then I want you to find this file, and I want you to run it. But then I'm going to give you these parameters, -- share, -- config, and then under the config, it's going to go ahead and give it the model name, okay, and it's going to go ahead and give it the path to find it. So this is actually going to be the URL. So this is all one command. Again, if we were running this in Windows, we'd have to break this up to be more confusing, but we're just going to copy it. We're going to go back over to our W install, and I'm going to just type clear just to clear out the screen, and then I'm just going to paste that in there. Okay, it's going to paste it in all as one thing, and now we can just go bloop. Oh, now look at no module named Gradio. Okay, so I don't know why they didn't have the Gradio in there, so we'll go ahead and install that. We notice that we're already in our virtual environment, so we're fine. Let's type pip install Gradio. Simple as that. So we'll go ahead and let that download. So some of these things they overlook because they assume you probably have it on your base environment. But again, I don't like to install really anything on my base environment because I don't want it conflicting with projects I'm working on. And maybe I've got a project that needs a different Gradio, and for whatever reason, I've got Gradio on my base environment, and then it's conflicting, or I think it's working because it's using the base one. But I like to keep my projects and my main computer separate from each other, my main environment separate from each other. But that's why they do that with some of these things. Like, he's like, well, I ran your stupid requirements file. Why wasn't it there? And they're like, well, I just assumed you had it in there. Okay, so we type clear again. Now, if we go back up, we can just press the up arrow a bunch of times. It'll take us back to what we already typed. Now we can go in here and no module name spaces. Okay, so there is another step that we have to do. If you go ahead and my apologies, if you go ahead and just download the installer, I've already taken care of all of this stuff. Okay, that's why I wasn't certain about what was going on here. But so what we have to do is we actually need to open up a file and we need to fix it. So really quickly, let's go over back to our File Explorer, and we're going to see this is where we installed it. So we're going to click into Sauna. We're going to go into the app folder, okay? And you're going to see that under here, under app_sauna, that's the one that we're running. So we're going to right click on it, and we're going to just click Edit in Notepad. Okay, so that's going to go ahead, and what that's going to do is that's going to open up this. Okay, so that's going to open up this. Let me make that smaller so you can see it. And then make it bigger so you can see it. Okay, so under here, all we got to do is we're going to hit Control F. It's going to bring up a screen that says a search screen, and we're just typing the word spaces. Go here where it says import spaces. Let's delete it. Okay, then we'll hit the next, and it's going to bring us down here, spaces. We're going to delete it. Okay, all Spaces does is it's for like the online demo stuff on Hugging Face. We don't need it, okay? It's like multiple people using the demo. We're doing it locally. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and paste our instruction from the browser into here, okay? And it's going to start to load, but we're actually going to have, I'm setting you up here. We're actually going to have a problem. So there's actually a problem with the online instructions, but it's fine. We're going to let this go. And then I'm going to show you how to fix it. Okay, so this is going to start to load. You can tell it's good because it starts to load the checkpoint shards. Again, we've set the port that we're going to be running the Gradio app on. It's running the 1.6 version or 16 version, whatever. And it's going to go, but here in just about a moment, we're going to get an error. Okay. So we'll sit here. Oh, maybe it's not. Okay, what can happen if the error doesn't go? That's such a Murphy's Law thing. Okay, here's the error. All right. So OS error, cannot find empty port in range 15432. Okay, and that was the one we set it. So in other words, it's trying to find a place that it can run on the server, but it's saying that's already being used. Okay, so that's a mistake from the website, okay, over there. What we're going to do is we're just going to copy this. Okay, it's not a big deal. We're going to copy it. Then we're going to pop back over to our browser, okay, and we're going to go over to ChatGPT. And then we're going to type in there this command. So here, well, we'll just do it again. This command, and then we'll paste it in there, okay, is giving this error. And then notice I put a colon there just to kind of help it figure out what's what. Then I can switch back over to my command line and we'll copy the error. Okay. Oh wait, that is the error. Okay. Sorry. We'll put that down here as giving this error, but let's go get our original command. Okay, so I switched that from what I did is I switched that, put it down there. We're going to go back over here, get our original command. Okay, so I can say this command is giving this error. It says OS error. And then I copied the other. Okay, so now if we hit this, it says the error occurs because the specified port's already in use. So change the port. So it gives us another port to use. Try 8080. So we'll just go ahead and copy that. Now if we go back to our command line, we can type clear just to clear that out. Now we can paste that in there, and this port should be open. So we'll sit here, same thing. It's going to go ahead and load it. We'll sit here and twiddle for a minute. And maybe I'll, well, I'm torn between pausing it and not pausing it. I think it's just going to take, let's sit here for a second and see what it does. We can check out the blinky lights here, that beautiful Christmas tree right there behind. Okay, so there we go. So now it's going to go through there and it starts to run the server. It's running some test stuff. Now, I guess I've already downloaded the models, so I'm not certain it's going to do it here again, but yours will take a bit of time because it's going to download all your safe tensors and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, and so now it's running through all this stuff. Basically, it's preloading. You'll see in the demo what it's doing is it's running all the demos before this even runs. So you could actually get into the file and get rid of all this if you want. That would save you a little bit of load time, so it doesn't have to do this every stinking time. Okay, so notice it's done. Okay, so yours will take a while because you got to download the models. So then I'm just going to go ahead and hold down the control button, the left control, and I'm going to click on it, and then it's going to pop up over to the browser. And here we go. We're in, okay? And notice we're running the 1.6 billion one. So this is the one, if you've got 16 or 12 gigabytes, it'll run. So we could say an image of a dog on a skateboard. Okay? We'll just go ahead and click run. Now that's a simple prompt. I don't know how great a quality it'll be, but it pops it up. Then what's cool about this, I can say make the dog origami. And notice it's running pretty fast there, okay? Okay, there we go. Look at that. It made the dog origami. Now we can go down to our advanced options, and I can change the height, the width, all this. Look at this. I can make this really high quality. That's full-on 4K quality stuff there. And notice how fast it's running, okay? Now it'll take a little, it's going to switch out, but it takes a little bit of while for it to actually generate it, okay? Look at that, okay? So that was really quick. If I open this in a new image browser over here, see, it actually takes a while to load it because it's so big. So that's a full 4K version of that was done in Sauna, okay? So that wasn't that difficult to do. But for those of you who've got a little bit less of a machine, let's go ahead and we're going to need to figure out how to get this to run with the lower model. Again, if we go back actually to our browser over here, notice it says that there's a 0.6 billion model, okay? But this is all set up here. So what we're going to do is let's go like this. Let's copy this URL. Okay, we're just going to highlight it, copy it. Then we're going to go over to our browser, paste it in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that part of it up there and just go to the checkpoints. Okay, so it's going to bring up on here, this says here, efficient large model, so on. So we're going to click that. Okay, brings us up to this page. And you can see this is where it's from. We're going to click there to go back to the beginning, and then now we're going to see all of the Sauna models. So we'll click there, and we can see the stuff that we were running. You could try running a smaller version of it there, of the 1.6, but what we want to do is go find the 600 million one. So it's the same as this, but it's a bit smaller. So we're going to click on that. Then we're going to click over here to our files and versions. Click on our checkpoints. Hey, okay. And then what we're going to do is just right click on this, and we're going to go copy link address. Okay. So this is the one that we're going to use, but now we need to change this. Okay, so we're going to actually have to get the correct image file or the correct YAML, and then we're going to have to change the path as well. So let's do this. I think the easiest way to do this is go back to our chat GPT. Let's create a new thing, and we're going to just say, I need you to alter this command to work with the following URL. So I'm going to put a colon. We're going to take that in there. Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll go back over to here, grab our one thing. Actually, what we need to do, honestly, is, well, let's just throw this in here. And we'll paste this over to ChatGPT. Now remember, we changed this port number, so let's put that 8080, and let's see what ChatGPT says. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and it's going to give us a command. So let's just go ahead and copy that. Go back to our command line. Now our program's already running, so let's just go ahead and press Control-C to close it out. Now let's paste in the new command that we got with the new folder, the new YAML. And it'll go through the same thing. Now, as long as our URLs and our YAML file is all set, it'll go through the same stuff. You'll have to download models again. Again, I think I already downloaded it, so it just has to load it up. There you go. Okay, so look at that. Now, if we left click and or we hold the left control button, then left click, now it takes us over here and look at this. Here's our 0.6 billion parameter one. So this one will run on your computers that have like 8 gigabytes. That's freaking awesome, dude. Okay, so let's go dog on a skateboard. Dog on a skateboard. He's in New York. Okay, we'll run it. So it runs even faster there. And there you go. And then let's go ahead and let's say, make him made of glass. And it'll take a second. There you go. And so it did it up. Now, the version here, you'll notice up here, it does say that unsafe words will give you a red heart. So if you, I think if you put something like that's naked in there, or something that's violent, or something that it feels violates its room, it's just going to put up a big picture of a heart. It's easy to undo that, and I think that it is deactivated if you go ahead and get the other version over here. But again, even with it deactivated, it's still a very safe model. So even if you do get a naked model, where you see something like boobies or something like that, they're not going to look erotic, I guess is the word. You know, so the model itself is actually a safe a fairly safe model. You're not going to get there's always going to be some clothes, at least from the belly button down, and like I said, the up parts are going to look a little bit weird. So it's really not that big of a deal. But if you still want the uncensored versions, it's really not difficult to do that. And like I said, it's kind of already taken care of in the one-click stuff. So, but you know, yeah, whatever. It's this is from NVIDIA, so you know they're going to be keeping that safe. But there you have it, guys. Easy install. You can go ahead, use your advanced options. If you do want to use negative prompts, you've got to click the button, and then, you know, whatever you don't want in there. You've got your different image styles, so you can do the same thing. Let's see if how I run this dog is pixel art. Notice it's running real fast. Again, it takes a there you go. So I guess glass is probably harder to do as pixel art, but we could do fantasy art, you know, whatever you want in here. And you'll see how fast this runs, and it's really high quality. And like I said, you can get 4K out of this. So you can actually use this for production in a way that it would be more difficult to get out of Focus or anything else. So very cool software. Okay, very cool software. We have made it easier for you to run. Get your Windows subsystem for Linux set up, and then listen, we're going to be doing a COG video thing. I know that's kind of been in the past, but one of the reasons we couldn't use it on Windows is because it's so difficult to run in Windows. Now that we've got our Windows subsystem for Linux, we're just going to go ahead and run that in there as well, and you'll have your system set up for when that's going. So essentially all we did is we just ran the installer, got all that stuff done, then we just downloaded this thing, click it, it was running, you're in it. If you wanted to do it manually, you just, we walk through the way that you can actually install it on Windows, and then you got to go down and you're going to have to follow that other video that I have about how to install CUDA and CUDA Deep Neural Network. Or you just go ahead and once you have it installed, you grab it from the Patreon site and you just click it and it installs. You're in here. You are making pictures of dogs on skateboards within moments, within the hour. Less than an hour, and you're doing that. And you're all ready for Christmas, so you can now make your Christmas cards and do whatever you want to be doing. So there you have it. All right. Well, I do wish you the best. We'll be making a bunch more videos here. We got a lot of stuff to cover here for the holidays. And as usual, you stay good, and we'll catch you on the other side.